Okay, hi everyone, welcome to the video. Today what I want to show you is how I built this key group to be my main key group to go to when I want to create a bass line. What's different about this key group? Well, just like a previous video that I made, what I did here is I imported several bass sounds and then I put all those sounds into one key group. Okay, and what this allows me to do after I record a bass line is to actually go and search for the right bass sound that really goes together with the rest of the song. I sampled my trusty synthesizer, the Digitone. So I sampled just one sound from each bass I could get out of the Digitone. I sampled the C note. I put all these samples that I took from the Digitone and placed them inside the key group. I also took other sounds, acoustic sounds, bass guitars, pickup basses, electronic basses, and put that inside the key group as well. So if we go inside the key group, you'll see that we have 32 key groups inside this program, and that's for 32 different bass sounds. So each key group has its own bass sound. It's really simple. You just go ahead and you create 32 key groups. That's where you can do it right there. So you can say how many key groups you want. I create 32 in this case. And then for each key group, you go to your samples, you select the key group you want, and then you just bring in the sound. You just turn the wheel there and select the sound for that key group. So I did that for the 32 key groups inside this program. So what I did next is I went here to the master and I turned the volume for all the key groups down to 0, except for the first one. That's my reference bass. I don't know if you can hear that because you might not be hearing this in proper speakers, but I have a sub bass here, and that's my start bass. So that's the bass that I really like to play with most of the times. I just like to use a sub bass. Okay, so that's the only key group that I have with the volume at 0 dB or close to it. One of the things you need to be careful is because you have so many basses that might be playing at the same time, once you start mixing between basses, always be careful and turn the level down like -4 dB so there's enough headroom. If I turn the wheel here, you'll see I'm going through all the key groups and they all have the volume set to 0. Except for my first key group, that's my reference bass. This is my sub bass, the one that I like to play with most of the times, and the one I use to create the bass line for the beat that I'm working with. So this is the beat that I did. Okay, and then I go ahead and I create a bass line. I came up with this bass line. All right, and what you do next is that I go into my pad mixer and you see all that. Unfortunately, this is a bug in the system. If I turn that and turn it back again, so I just choose another program, then come back to the bass again, you'll see that now we see all the levels. And if we select that one, that's our first key group. That's the sub bass that it's playing. If I turn it down, you won't hear any bass. If I turn it up, then you'll hear the bass. Right, and this is where it gets really fun because you can now do the same thing, just increase the level or lower the level for all the other key groups. And that way you can mix in between certain basses and you can find a bass that is really good for your beat, the beat that you're making. So let's go to this one. So in this way you can mix in between several basses and find the one that you really want. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys, just this concept of bringing several sounds inside one key group and, having this technique or this workflow of, instead of loading up different sounds all the time, just having actually different sounds all together inside one key group that you can just mix here in the pad mixer area, which what is actually showing you in the pad mixer is nothing more than the volume for each individual key groups that you created inside the key group program. So if you go to the pad mixer, you'll have the ability to touch on the level, the pan. You can mute groups here as well. To mute the sound, you can use mutes, but I prefer to just use volume in this case. We also have the sans inserts and routings for each individual key group. This key group, I think, is going to help me a lot just to jump in between different sounds, different bass sounds, instead of loading up a new bass sound just to try it out. I have the basses that I like here in this key group program. All the basses that I want to use are in here already. So to me, I don't need to be loading different bass sounds all the time. It's all inside one key group, and it's just way easier to work that way. At any point, you can just bring in a new sample and replace it with another one that you don't use or you don't use as often. You can just sample a note, and that's what I'll be doing. I will be sampling a note, and I'll be bringing it into the key group program and replacing it with another sound that I don't use as often. So that's the workflow that I wanted to share with you guys. I think it's really helpful. It just makes you work faster and at the same time have the ability to mix between different bass sounds, which is really good as well. So that's it. The bass group here, the bass key group, it's available for my Patreons. If you want to become a patron, it's just $1 a month and you get access to all the stuff that I do here on the channel. I post it up there, and more things as well. I post them on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoyed the idea. If you think this is worth it, go ahead and create your own bass sounds as well. If you have any questions, comments, do use the section below to post your ideas. Okay, guys and girls, I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.